Everybody loves a good rags to riches inspirational story, from broke musicians and film stars getting a lucky break to propel themselves to stardom, to sports heroes who came from nothing. There's always someone out there who has this sort of story that inspires others. Bowling itself has its own rags to riches story in Tom Smallwood. Smallwood had his first taste of the PBA in the 03-04 season when he earned his PBA tour card due to his performances in the regional tour. However, things did not go well for Tom and he missed the cut in 19 out of 20 events and finished 53rd on the tour points list, which meant he did not make the next season's exempt tour. Smallwood then decided to get a job and essentially gave up the idea of being a full-time bowler. He then got a job at General Motors in the spring of 2008, only to get laid off 2 days before Christmas. Tom, who was then married with one child, agreed to look for a new job for 2 months before considering a return to the PBA Tour. He then learnt that the PBA Tour trials would be held in Detroit in May 2009, and he decided that this would be his last attempt to gain a PBA Tour card. So he gave it a go and actually finished third at the trials out of 97 bowlers, and this meant that he made the top 8 who gained PBA exemptions for the 2009-2010 season. Now Smallwood had a chance to realise his dream of becoming a professional bowler. The start of the new PBA season began in August of 2009 and it kicked off with the first ever World Series of Bowling. This included the 5 animal pattern tournaments and the Motor City Open. If you bowled well enough during the animal pattern events, you qualified for the World Championship. Tom Smallwood managed to not only make the cut for the World Championship, but ended up as the #1 seed, and suddenly he has a shot at winning a major. But perhaps more importantly for Tom, a win would give him a tour exemption through to the 2011-2012 season. Interestingly, the telecasts for the final rounds of the Motor City Open and the 5 animal pattern tournaments took place on September the 5th and 6th. However, the World Championship finals were not actually held until almost 3 months after this on December 13th, 2009. Ironically, Smallwood was actually offered a chance to go back to General Motors, and he received this call just a few days before the World Championship finals. Smallwood had to decline, however, and told them that he was actually now a full-time bowler and would be on ESPN that Sunday. So in this video we're going to analyse this telecast, as all of this is such an unlikely scenario, and I'm sure at the time nobody expected that Tom could actually win this. Another part of this is that Tom has quite an unusual style, and no disrespect to Tom when I say this, but I think a lot of people would look at the way he bowls and think, oh, he just looks like some league bowler, there's no way he could ever be a pro. But when you watch him bowl, it doesn't take long for people to realise that actually, yeah, this guy is very, very good. So as I mentioned, Tom was the #1 seed, and joining him on the telecast was Rhino Page, Bill O'Neill and Wes Malott. The format was not a stepladder but a bracket, so there would be 2 semi-final matches before the championship match. Let's start briefly with match #1 with Rhino Page facing Wes Malott. Rhino struck in the first and then got 2 pretty bad back-to-back breaks. He left a 7-pin and then a 9-pin that really should have fallen. Meanwhile, everything is going right for Malott as he went very high but tripped the 4, and then on the very next shot went light but managed to kick out the 2-pin. He capitalised on this and made it 4 in a row. Rhino kept himself going, however, after getting a double from 2 light hits. Then suddenly we have a match after Malott missed the pocket, leaving the 2-4-8-10, and this open cut his lead to just 5 pins. It then went from bad to worse as he missed a single 10-pin by some distance, but Page couldn't take full advantage as he left the bucket on the next shot. And you can see that's now 3 shots in a row that he's gone light, so Page was definitely struggling to find a good ball reaction. But he did make a really nice shot after this leave. In frame 8, Page went high and nearly left a split. He most likely tried to make an adjustment for this lane after leaving the bucket, but then the next frame he does actually leave a split after pulling it inside and going through the nose. This gives Malott a 12-pin lead. He strikes in the 9th and then leaves his 3rd 10-pin of the match, which he does spare. Now he can shut out Rhino Page with 9 pins on the fill shot, which he does, so Malott has booked his place in the title match. Let's go over to semi-final #2, where it's Tom Smallwood taking on the real deal Bill O'Neill. Tom's first shot isn't the best as he goes light, leaving the 2-10. but as this is his first TV appearance at a major, we can forgive him for this shot. However, there's not too much damage done as O'Neill leaves the 410 after going through the nose in the second. Tom then makes two much better shots for a double. O'Neill is getting a lot of over-under as this next shot goes light and it will be another open frame. Smallwood throws another strike before going high for a 4-pin. Meanwhile, O'Neill can't really get anything going and Tom extends his lead to 41 with another double, and a further strike in the 8th basically wraps this one up. O'Neill struggled in this match, but Smallwood played a solid game and did enough to get the job done. Now we move on to the title match, Smallwood versus Malott. It's another fast start from Malott, who had the first 4 strikes, but Smallwood isn't too far behind after going strike spare and then 3 in a row. Both players look very lined up early. Malott's run of strikes ends in the 5th when he leaves a 10-pin. The next shot goes a little light for a 4-pin, and this might be a sign of the lanes transitioning at this point. Smallwood threw another really great shot, but in the 7th frame, he doesn't look like he lets go of it very well, and it looks a tad inside as well. He goes through the nose, leaving the 4-6-7 for an open frame. Another strike and then 9 spare for Malott, and he holds on to a 13-pin lead. However, Smallwood bounces back, throwing a double, and particularly on the left lane where he left a split, he threw a much better shot. A very dirty Brooklyn for Malott in the 9th frame, and then a rather fortunate 9 count in the 10th after going very high. And now things are out of Malott's hands. Smallwood can win his first ever title with a strike and 7 pins. And he nails it, posting a really nice shot, and then throws another strike to seal the win. The fairy tale story was complete, and now with a tour exemption, Smallwood had the chance to realise his dream of being a full-time bowler. Now, if anyone thinks that this was just a fluke, we can disprove this instantly when we look at what else Smallwood has managed to achieve. He qualified as the 1 seed for the 2011 Tournament of Champions, and although he wasn't able to win, it was still a very solid performance. He then went on to win his second title on November 3rd, 2013 at the World Series of Bowling during the Scorpion Championship. He then managed to add another major to his collection, winning the PBA Players Championship. He climbed from the number 5 seed at the TV finals and ended up defeating the top seed, Jason Belmonte, in the final match. It's clear that Smallwood was not just a flash in the pan and has been a solid contender on the PBA for many years now. This story was remarkable, and it even got its own TV show. How We Roll was a TV series aired on CBS in 2022, and it was based on Tom Smallwood and the events that occurred during his first major win. I've never watched this before, so I have no idea if it's any good, but it only ran for 1 season before getting cancelled. And so that brings us to an end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this little dive into Tom Smallwood's backstory, and I think it is a really cool story, but what I like is the fact that Tom's continued to win on the tour, so it wasn't just he came in and won 1 major, he's managed to win again, which is always great to see. As always, I would love to hear from you all in the comment section below, and I hope to see you all very soon on another video. Thank you, bowling fans, and see you all next time.